deadly thing to have TheShy in form, because not only is he playing well on the carries, but his tank play has been impeccable so far this season. So Gwen is taken away, but Rumble, first pick, always on my mind. Some mid lane champions already taken off, but I'm thinking Pantheon's here. Are they willing to make the trade? Is it going to be Pantheon? Is it going to be Rumble? Or are we going to go for an unexpected third?
Rumble is the current selection, and that is the lock-in. Now, BLG, like you said, you could go for the Pantheon, try to give Shadow the best early game jungler that is available at the moment. Pair it alongside the Taliyah. That has been a tried and true combo. You have so much map movement between both the Grand Starfall as well as the Weaver's Wall. We'll see if BLG locks that in here.
I think this gives you such a big cheat code, because we talked about maybe the objective setups not being as clean for BLG, but when you have double globals like this, you can make a play on one side of the map and then immediately move over and catch someone else from IG. So maybe playing the map a little wider than their opponents. Let's see what IG are going to go for in response. Yunara did make it through this draft, and Gala has been our most successful player on it, only followed by maybe a player like Taeyun, who has some of the most played games on this champion, and a lot of setup already for the Yunara. You now have Annie, and you have the Rumble coming through.
And I think it's so important for IG to secure a champion like Annie for Rookie, who we have given our biggest criticisms to this player. It's been his early laning phase, and it's been some of his mechanical executions. Thankfully, Annie is a straightforward, simple champion, and he is one to recognize you don't have to always go for the AoE Tibber stun. That could be a little shaky. You just lead with the Q, guaranteed point and click, and if you get past the 20-minute mark, Rookie tends to shine with clutch decision-making.
All right, second phase of bans. It's Poppy. We talked about it before. One of Wei's best champions and something that can be flexed over into the support, although we haven't seen it this split. Alistar, in my mind, while it does suck into what the Taliyah is showing, is Meiko's best champion so far throughout 2025. So I'm thinking about that champion. I'm thinking about Rel. So let's see what they are going to go for, especially when you have this Yunara. She needs the ability to go through. And honestly, Raafaa, I gotta say, the solo lane matchups are not looking great for BLG. This Mbessa Rumble matchup can be very tough to pilot.
And it's not like you can really steamroll ahead of the Annie on the Taliyah for Knight. When we think about how BLG tend to win games, you want super advantageous matchups. But right now, this first game draft is all about, we're not playing necessarily for lane. We're trying to accelerate the map state overall. It would be a good test for BLG to try and expand their versatility and playstyle, just so that they are not a one-dimensional team, even if they are the strongest in the LPL to do it.
So, a lot of flexibility. I think it's hard to have as IG a solid enough front line when you see Taliyah plus Mbessa. So ways you can slow down fights, and he's going to be great at that. And they're going to leave Elk to have counterpick, or not counterpick, but to see the rest of the draft. Xayah would be nice, and you're going to have that Rakan to be able to duo up. I like having on this champion to have flexibility in a fight, to dive alongside these members from BLG.
And the question is, what is the answer for Wei here? Because we were thinking about Wukong and Annie as a tried and true combo. Normally for IG, they have flourished when Wei is something more of a facilitator rather than a carry in his own right. But recently, he had a monstrous Wukong performance, being able to show some of his best mechanical execution we have seen all split long. We'll see if Wei can do it again against the organization that dropped him in favor of Beichuan.
We should have seen this matchup so early on, but again, Typhoons delaying this matchup alongside the series we just saw before, so push to the end of the split. We see this look from IG, all about team fighting. The front to back is going to be so incredible. Ways to stall out with the Wukong and now Alistar so that Gala can unleash with this Yunara. But BLG, the ability to dive, and I think watching how they can play around objectives, utilizing this mid-jungle duo, very, very pivotal in my mind.
If BLG can win with a composition like this and not just purely relying on pure laning strength, but actually showing strong, at least early game macro where this composition shines, it's a good sign of things to come for BLG after this series, going into playoffs and eventually the international stage. Both of the compositions are locked in for both Invictus Gaming and BLG. The coaches exchange fist bumps, Last thoughts here, Alk, before we hit the rift.
I gotta say, I'm really excited to see. This is one of our best matchups. I think you highlighted it so well to start us off. This could be the series of the split. And again, right before we get into game, if you want to get in on this, you can go and share your takes over in the Discord. Raafaa, I feel like you really agree with this from what you have been pushing so far on the show.
I can't say for certainty that he is one of the best shot callers in the world just because I'm not able to get comms from every single team, but I definitely agree that Meiko has proven to be this split, returning to the mantle of the best support in the LPL. We'll see if that is enough for another upset victory from IG against BLG, or if this will be sweet revenge. It all starts right now in Game 1 for our final series of the Rumble stage. Invictus Gaming taking on Bilibili Gaming. Let's hit Summoner's Rift.
Ooh. Starting off with some early aggression. Finds some chip down onto Meiko. Wei is by himself, does not know Mbessa is here until Bin shows himself. Raafaa, I want to contest you a little bit. You're saying an upset, but BLG have been a little shaky. And from IG, we have seen nothing but, I think, excellence from this team so far.
Sure.
Yes, they might be, an exciting team, and sometimes they will stumble, but IG have come to play, and it feels like they are peaking at the right time. A bit of a failure in Split 1. Split 2, they got all the way to top 3, and really feels like this is their time of the year where they can make a run and make it to the finals.
They are hitting that character arc at the right time of the tournament. IG just a few days away from playoffs kicking off with the play-in stage. And then, of course, BLG, IG, Anyone's Legend, and Top Esports will get a chance for a little bit of rest before we head into those best of fives that involve our best teams from Group Ascend. Right now, the early laning phase, a little bit of aggressive trading between the majority of our bottom side of the map laners here. It's only been in TheShy that remain a little bit contained. Aggressive start, Meiko forcing the flash out of On. And as we said before, Alk, we have been teeing this up as On's greatest challenge to try and go up against the greatest support in LPL history.
BLG have usually been able to take advantage of Meiko's teams just by having really strong lanes. Now we're seeing an adaptation here. Wei is not going to be spotted by this ward. And he's crossing over. They had no idea where Shadow started. As soon as he sees these camps gone, he's going to know he's on the top side. There's nothing for Wei to play for. He has to just skip straight through mid to get to his camps. I think this is a really big danger for IG's early.
Oh, Bin? Oh, TheShy has him cooked. Looks for the flash. And it's an exchange of summoner spells between TheShy and Bin at 3 minutes.
All right, TheShy, though, I think by doing that and by playing this Rumble, he is going to push the wave away from him. And now that they have all this information that Shadow was already on the top side, when you're playing Pantheon, there's always an angle for him to look. He's already done with his 6 camps. Does he opt for the recall? It looks like he's going to try to walk through lane. No flash available for TheShy. This could be incredibly dangerous.
If you are an IG fan, you're hoping... Oh, nice ward. TheShy knew that something could have happened with a lane gank from Shadow's Pantheon, and TheShy is able to avoid certain disaster.
Okay, if Wei was incredibly greedy, what he does here is he takes both scuttles, recalls, goes topside, and flips his jungle pathing, but is instead just going to go ahead, get his camps, and he actually can make a movement down here. So we're going to see both of our mid laners teleport back in. It's going to be Knight taking a little bit of a greedier path, just try to cut this wave a little higher, but really clutch ward coming in, I think saving IG's early game. And so far we haven't seen too much action. I say that, well, it does get traded on. You got to be very careful against this Yunara.
Exactly, and Gala and Meiko have to be careful on this timer because Wei is now taking a base. Shadow gets his first move onto the bottom side of the map. Thankfully for Gala and Meiko, they've been able to trade aggressively enough that they preserve a decent HP advantage, and it doesn't seem like BLG are confident in having this Pantheon try and move bot lane in time. And it's just soon enough for Wei to now start making his way towards the bottom side of the map as Bin is getting dangerously low here.
That's the problem that I have with this matchup. I think it's really tough, and Bin has gone a lot better at Mbessa, but TheShy is in form right now. So this is a risky gambit coming on. Great punish from Meiko.
Meiko just starting to get the read on now, conditioning him to try and wait for the battle dance before exhausting the pulverize. Gala doesn't get a chance to stall the recall on On's recon there, but Alk is left under tower. Doesn't look like they'll go for the dive, but the priority from bot lane sets up Way to look for an early dragon.
Great job. So starting off with the dragon, exactly what we needed to see here. I'd say we didn't have a huge discussion about scaling, and while it is relative in this game, I think IG do have a little bit more potential, but they're a bit short range, and I think when you have that option, Xayah becomes really, really powerful. Knight on this Talia becomes really, really, you know, has a high potential, I think, in this game. So I feel like neither of our teams really branch out and immediately win the game at like 35 minutes.
It is nice for IG to claim a early dragon, especially doing it on a champion like Wukong. That takes a huge time investment to do. You're not the best at being able to solo an objective like that, but now you have the Drake stacking win condition on your side, and as you mentioned before, IG's chances into something like a Xayah are not going to be that much more favorable the later the game goes on. So trying to accelerate the pace of the game is a great way to set yourself up to put BLG on a timer.
No Tibbers available. Dragons or Herald spawns in a minute and a half. We're already starting to see that Shadow is getting an invade. Is this typically the style that we tend to get from Way? Where's it going to come out?
Wade doesn't have Cyclone yet. Shadow has level 6 with a level advantage now, but TheShy is just cooking him alive. Flash from the Shadow at the very last second, but Wade still has a Nimbus strike and takes out Shadow.
First blood to IG. And wow, what an incredible start to this. I mean, remember, this started off with Way trying to invade on bottom side. I think Bin gets a solo here.
Is TheShy baiting in, though? But Knight is here first. Meiko cannot save his top laner. Bin being able to punish the Rumble.
Okay, so now, look at the state of the map. So there's not going to be a Talia wall for these grubs. Will BLG opt to go for this objective? Knight's going to, or Shadow is going to clear his bottom side. I don't think we're going to use the Grand Starfall under this turret right now, but if you can try, I think maybe there's an angle for BLG to look for at least one of these objectives. I feel like this is a team that really wants to try to get grubs in this game.
It would give you a lot of opportunities to try and just pinch the map and split push your way back into either getting more gold for yourself or just trying to force the enemy to play around to your tempo, as we are now, as you called out, 12 seconds away from grubs spawning. Cyclone is going to be available for Way. Flashes gone from Shadow, so he has to be extremely careful about how he postures if he wants to contest this objective.
They know he's on the bottom side of the map, but when you have Grand Starfall, I think it opens up a lot of angles here. You see that BLG are starting to fade towards the bottom side of the map. Maybe they just try to make a play once, if anybody shows on that bottom lane turret. And a style that we have seen from Way repeatedly this season is how he gets information and how he plays around for his lanes. Typically, when we get to like a 15-minute mark, Way is down in camps, but he is more indexing towards getting vision, protecting his lanes, and giving them information so they can, you know, squeeze a little bit of juice here, get a little bit here. This needs to be a quick play from IG, as they're going to give plates over to Alk on bottom side.
That's a nice win here for BLG to at least get some gold back into their carries that they want to try and play around. But this is all three grubs going the way of IG. So now, if IG ever set themselves up for trying to push for some early turrets here, they're going to have a huge advantage to try and get it first before BLG do.
Shadow has a massive lead right now in this Pantheon. Pantheon can be a huge nuisance in this game, but early objectives already going over to IG spells great things. Potential dive setting up here. It is Knight who got priority in mid and doesn't have the Weaver's Wall. So don't think it's going to be on this wave, but could be on that next one coming to bottom lane.
I mean, Meiko just responds by punting and knocking up Alk away so that Rookie doesn't take too much damage from the setup of On. As you called out, Knight does not have Weaver's Wall yet, but on the next minion wave, He might try and look for a quick fade towards the bottom side of the map. Shadow has Grand Starfall available. They want to punish Rookie. They know that he has been sometimes a liability in the early stages of the game. Tibbers comes out, tries to kill the wave. Pantheon is not going to go for the bot dive, just looks for a quick steal on the Raptor camp.
Third Raptor camp, man. This is a huge win. Shadow, despite losing the first 2 objectives, is a full level up. So I can't be understated how powerful this Pantheon can be, especially in these skirmishes. He's going to reset. He'll have his bottom side camps respawning soon. Could look for a play on top side. TheShy does have flash, but the public execution and with where the wave is, if TheShy ends up pushing this, it's going to be really important. And we haven't really touched on some of the lane allocations. I know we've been seeing Annie by herself just now use the teleport. And you can see that IG really prioritize having Gala make it a little easier for him to get to plays, move into side lanes versus this Annie.
And it gives IG a lot more breathing room to try and at least protect Rookie on one side of the map, or if they have to abandon him, they can at least try and play to TheShy's advantage on the cross map. Second dragon does spawn. BLG trying to challenge the river. It's only on here, but Meiko and Wei are waiting in this line brush right under Elk.
Okay, things I want to note here. Look at the bottom of the mini-map here. Very important. And now, level 6 available for On. It's going to be even playing field coming in for these 2 teams. And potential flank wards for BLG to play around with. As they start to collapse around this dragon, Shadow's going to get a quick recall off. He can finish his first item, have that Sundered Sky, and Grand Starfall right back in if IG don't start this.
One ward dies near the red buff, but the other ward near the Krug camp is still alive if Bin and Knight want to look for flank TPs. Knight is already on the bottom side of the map. Bin has to collect this wave. TheShy is going to get his first base off here. And right now, IG are just threatening the take of this dragon. It's an early TP from TheShy, just to guarantee priority. I don't know if BLG can answer this in time.
Meiko's going to stop him. Weaver's Wall's coming through.
He's forced to pop the quickness, tries to flash away onto TheShy. He stalls him, but the second dragon is secure, but TheShy is compromised here. Good knock off away. Public execution onto the backline. They finally find TheShy, but can they find any more kills back? On is in danger. Rookie is looking for a quick flash onto the Rakan. He just needs one more spell in the tank. The Q cooldown comes back up. It's the auto tank. Ooh, not enough damage. Flash from Shadow, but the stun from Rookie stops Shadow in place. Elk trying to pump out damage with the feathers, but Meiko flashes away for the blade caller in time. Wayne now trying to run away. He dashes over the wall with the clone and he flashes away. Rookie, can he make it out alive? Shadow still has the Grand Starfall if he wants to look for the chase. Somehow, BLG don't get any more kills.
And this is the second dragon going over to IG, so a massive win for them. Oh, there's the Grand Starfall. We were waiting to see where Shadow was going to use it. It's right after the objective. This is exactly how you want to be able to use this. Now flashes away from 4 of the members of IG. BLG may have not won the fight, but looking at the Herald that spawns in 2 minutes, that is something that they can look to punish in time.
Grand Starfall will come up in about a minute and a half, whereas Anti-Flash, 5 minutes. Here's the replay as On is, yeah,
look at the line that they draw here. There's no ability for BLG to get in here, and afterwards, it takes a hell of a lot of investment. Public execution, Elk no longer has the ultimate. You can see how they're sectioning the fight in multiple different ways. They chase On. I mean, the shielding coming in from the passive is very, very strong, and you can see the rest of this play, just not enough damage. I love how the front line of IG played all of these fights.
Just extremely clutch uses of Flash here to deny any extra kill gold over to BLG. These are the types of fights that BLG, against any other team in the LPL, would thrive in, being able to hand stiff you, hands check you. But in these scenarios, IG are able to at least be very clutch in denying a lot of that kill gold from coming through. And in the end, IG maintain a gold lead that is not too much of a deficit for themselves. And they have the objective lead. Bin.
He's gonna get cooked. That's that Mauve Mower, or the Hex Drinker, giving him some early shielding. Potential play going over onto top side. Multiple pings. Let's get control of this Tri-Brush. Set ourselves up for that Herald in 30.
On doesn't have Flash, but he knows that he's not in danger to get collapsed on just yet. Gala might be pinched here. Grand Entrance gets the knockup. That's the cleanse out of Gala, trying to dissuade the quickness. Meanwhile, it's Wei looking for Shadow. He doesn't have flash from the fight before. This is a great pick. That's the fate of Warfare secured for IG, but now Wei might be in trouble here. On and Elk looking for the collapse. There's no quickness anymore from On, but Bin might be able to look with the public execution. The flash right on top of Wei. The former teammate of BLG getting isolated by both of his former side laners, and they goes down. Meiko and TheShy trying to fight this one off. Equalizer not available. Timbers lands a stun on the Knight, but he flashes in time. On getting cooked here by TheShy. Elk trying to kite his way to victory. He has no Feather Storm. The Flame Spitter, it's enough to burn him down. Bin could be next, then Gala finds the double on Yanara. It's just Knight left, but Shadow's coming back off of base, and he has Grand Starfall in 4 seconds.
This should be BLG's objective to take. Wei is going to take way too long to get back in here, and a really interesting fight coming in from our two teams. Gala getting picked off at the very beginning, so he doesn't have his ultimate to start this off, but then BLG unable to find any of this damage. Look at the collapse from this. Really great control. Again, they pushed Bin off, so Bin is only coming into this fight now. And this just means that they get to start off all of this fight with a numbers advantage. But look at the teleport. Annie is so far away that Talia just gets to take over this fight. They isolate Wei. He's no longer a factor. And how are BLG going to play out the rest of this fight? They have to wait for some of their spells. They don't have the quickness because they used it on Gala.
And it gives IG the momentary advantage to at least trade these kills. Remember, as we said, if BLG are not able to just rip a strong gold advantage right out the gate, we favor IG the later the game goes on. Even if the compositional strength might be hard to execute, just from precedence alone, IG are masters when it comes to the mid and late game macro.
IG 3 grubs. They're going to squeeze so much from this turret. It's a Herald spawn in... Oh, he takes the Herald, so he just finished it. Okay. No play here.
Meiko.
Oh, okay, that is his flash missing. Really important as this dragon is started, but... Or spawning now. Do BLG just make the trade? They're going to summon this immediately, take the mid-tier 1, and pressure IG to say, look, we're going to get a hell of a lot of gold right here if you do not start this dragon or stop us.
He's looking for a deep flank through this line brush. TheShy is here with Equalizer available. They try to look for Meiko first. Wei is waiting for his time. The Equalizer's perfect! Flash from Wei! Looks for Alk into the backline. Still gets caught with the Feather Storm. The follow-up is massive! IG pull off a beautiful flank, and BLG lose out on Knight and Elk.
Another objective where BLG are not able to find themselves in a fight in a fantastic engagement. This is why IG look like the most poised team that we have in the LPL. A split
but this is good response from BLG, looking for Rookie, who is overextended. Big shutdown goes over to Bin. Knock up from Meiko, seizes them up. Gala looking for the follow-up. One more auto attack. It's not enough.
Gala!
He gets stunned up by Shadow under the tower. A mistake is costly to Gala, and so the big shutdown going over to Shadow's pockets. On! Doesn't find TheShy with the knockup. IG still secure the third dragon of the game, but BLG gonna be grateful that they got some shutdown gold for themselves.
I will eat crow. I will just straight up do it. I said they're most poised team, and then they immediately do that. Where now Gala, he dies, he keeps his summoner spells, but even TheShy loses his flash. Some questionable decisions on the back end of that, but IG now find themselves on sole point here. This teleport, like you noted, and more importantly, this flank from Wei. Nobody from BLG knows this is happening, so now, with the engage, they thought they could find Meiko with no flash. Equalizer, you get the ultimate out from Elk, and there is no ability here for anybody on BLG to be able to play in this fight.
Rookie even finds the max range flash Tibbers. Unfortunately,
TheShy guys.
The heroics end here. As you note in the picture-in-picture, TheShy does get dove by BLG successfully.
Gala tries to squeeze. He's like, I could get this. He's 100 HP. Trust. Doesn't end up happening. It is going to be a bottom lane tier 1 going over to BLG. Most likely not even this turret. A huge flank, and instead of grabbing the turret, we're going.
It's a TP coming in. They're looking for On, though. Bin finds a public execution on the way. The Cyclone binds a knock up into Elk, but he goes down. That's a shutdown going over to Knight. Shadow comes from the bottom flank. Gala is in danger. Tries to flash away, but the Comet Spear executes him where he stands. Meiko could not save his AD carry in time. The execution from BLG finds Meiko through the damage reduction, and BLG pull off a near ace at 19 minutes.
Finally, IG overextend their hand, and BLG snap the trap right on top of them. Teleport again now coming on through. It is going to be on to put them in position. Otacon spawns in 10 seconds, and this was just a line of play. Again, we get to take a look at picture-in-picture. It is Rumble dying, and then IG trying to make a play. So a verified ace there. Do BLG feel empowered enough to start to gear themselves towards this bottom side objective? Take a look back at this replay. Look at where IG are. And this public execution from Bin breaks the front line. I don't know why we're trying to execute this dive as IG. Some of the questionable mechanics from Invictus now coming up.
Picture.
Let's go to live. Let's go to live.
Holy moly, another fight from BLG trying to invade IG into their bottom red quadrant here. Shadow goes for the stun on Meiko. Massive damage. The seismic shot from Knight kills the cow where he stands, and IG lose out on their support. There's not an objective to play for. I take that back. Otacon is alive. Wait, you're going to have to find a miracle here.
This is such a tough spot for them to walk in. You're walking into Talia and Pantheon. I think a massive loss here.
It's gone.
It's going to be this going over.
He doesn't have enough time.
Yeah, TheShy's going to throw out the equalizer. Going to barely get any tick damage down onto Shadow. So yeah, BLG are starting to posture around some of these objectives, seeing if IG are going to overextend. And in a short matter of time, IG went from handily deciding a large portion of the early game to now slipping multiple fights in a row, trying to find any kind of objective. Kind of feels like they're trying to play BLG's game better than them, and they get punished for it massively in this game.
And if you're a BLG fan, you are appreciating the nerves of steel as a collapse on a rookie forces him to flash away. But where are you going?
He's dead.
You're gonna try to teleport out? There's no safe place for Rookie to go. The flash ends up being a waste of a summoner spell and ends up giving the gold to Bin anyway.
Look at what we were talking about when you have Pantheon Talia. Being able to make plays after objectives or after big fights is a huge piece of the game plan. Rookie overextends, not that similar level of protection like we have seen from him in multiple games from IG. They're going to make a trade on the opposite side of the map. It's a jungle camp here for Wei and a turret going over to IG.
If we got a moment for things to cool down here, this is where BLG fans can appreciate that they have been able to watch their team come back from a decent early objective advantage that IG have built up for themselves and punish IG for the overcomplacency that they have found themselves on the map. Because when it comes down to these quick skirmish scenarios and where BLG believe that they are better in the hands check, they do win a majority of the time here, even against IG.
Exactly. BLG have been the team that always invite a fight, and they know more times than not they can outhands their opponent. Them having the mid-tier 1 means it is so much easier for them to grab this dragon. IG, they're not going to even entertain the idea of going for this dragon. They know they have a lot of dragons. They have at least 15 minutes that they can play with to get themselves into a better spot and look for that soul. So what are IG going to do? They're going to split open this map and look to take another turret here. So short-term gold gains. Are they ever going to really be able to answer this wave ever again? It's going to be my question when you have a Talia and you have this Pantheon always being able to answer the side lane.
This is where IG's early objective investment can at least be a little bit of a saving grace to try and just buy them time to farm their way back into an even state against BLG. But as you noted before, even though we favor IG when it comes to late game macro decisions, if IG find themselves in hands check scenarios, especially down in gold, that's a winning formula for BLG.
IG have also won those games too, man. Like, I think of their last series versus BLG, they're down 6,000 gold. IG secure the Ocean Soul, they ace BLG and end the game 2 minutes later. Like, I don't know what to say. There's a lot of magic going on for this team, but BLG themselves in a really, really commanding spot. Meiko's just dead.
Oh,
Meiko's dead.
Meiko! I mean, that's a 3-man pulverize, but no one can follow up just yet. He's forced to pop the ultimate for the damage reduction. That's a nice equalizer to at least slow down BLG and prevent them from finishing the assassination onto Meiko. But Bin is left alone to a top tier 1 turret for the taking, and that's extra gold going into the pockets of BLG.
IG right now, they can't even push more on this bottom side. There is a Baron spawning in 35, and they recognize this is not an objective we're going to be able to take. Meiko using the ghost there to get out of that play, very important. And what I want to show to the audience right now is all of these wards. You can see that Meiko starting to clear out this vision, but there's so much of an investment. It's going to take a while for IG to not only clear all of this, but how are they ever going to get more proactive vision on BLG's side of the map before this Baron spawns?
I don't have the answers for that one, Dimitri. IG are
Nice.
going to have to problem solve that one. Hey, listen, they're the pro team, not us. We just follow the story as it unfolds, and we're here for the ride. It's definitely been an exciting one to start off our final match, our final series of the regular season here in Split 3.
It is still
IG now.
vision control here for BLG.
BLG just waiting for their time to see if anyone from IG steps up out of position. Try to burn summoner spells first. Don't over-aggress. Looking for Wei now. Quick dash with the clone. Gets away from disaster.
IG do not have enough of ability to walk into Fog of War. They would require Meiko to stand next to them, and that just ends up setting up for Knight and the rest of this team to really collapse. IG, they want this mid-tier 1. It has provided so many problems for them so far in this first game. It is very easy for BLG to clear this, but if they can overforce, it is going to be that Weaver's Wall, so saving the turret yet again. Got that dragon in 2 minutes. That is really where I think bread and butter is going to be made here. Are IG going to adapt for this play, or are they going to look elsewhere? They're going to finally try to take this mid-tier 1 that we've been talking about.
At least it's good timing from Knight because he'll have the Weaver's Wall back up for that dragon. So IG gonna have to problem solve quickly to see if they can find a window to take out this tier 1 turret that has been hanging for the past 15 minutes. They try to step up, get some auto attacks in. Meiko gets flicked back. They finally find it, but Wei is forced to use the Cyclone. Public Execution finds the backline. Here comes the Grand Starfall. Where's it going to land? Equalizer onto the backline. Forces Alk to go up the air, and he flashes away for the TheShy in time, but he's still burning 9 and on into the backline. IG are winning the frontline war. Foreshadow out. Wei flashes after the shadow, but he gets the blast cone. And he might be able to make the escape, but Wei has a Nimbus Strike. The heal from Meiko to give him the movement speed. A knockup from Meiko sends Shadow back to the grave. And Baron is up for the taking. Do IG try and rip this objective here?
Can they get there in time? Because the dragon still spawns in 50, and BLG have some members that can play. No summoner spells available for any of the members of BLG except for Knight's Flash here. It's going to be pick after pick. Bin has teleport and knows Grand Starfall. IG are going to rip this Baron.
Do they just want to look for the turn? Do they look for the burn? BLG trying to pressure right now. On finds a knockup onto Rookie. He's gone here. Wait, he's still alive. The teleport comes in for Bin. Rookie is still alive at 2,000 HP. Wait, he has the smite. He smited early, but he still secures it for himself. BLG now trying to corner IG into the Baron pit here. Wait, tries to distract him. Gala is kiting for his life. Wade's giving his life to try and frontline. Alk is able to find the Featherstorm in the Blade Call, but Gala still lives. And now Alk can get in. He has no summoner spells. Meiko tries to give the world for Gala to survive. Rookie and Gala the only ones. Gala Alk gets the slow on the Knight, and he's running away. But Knight finishes him off with a flash and a throw of another rock. IG in the end maintain the Baron only onto 1 in Rookie.
Gala tries to step up. It is a Baron that still goes over to IG, but it is onto only 1 member. A crucial fight there for BLG as they find that in. That'll give them another dragon to play with. So BLG outfight their way out of a situation that looked dire, and IG, some of these setups have not been as crisp as we were expecting from this team.
They were able to at least push through the chaos and the just uncertainty of the play. BLG definitely made it difficult for them. I don't know how much IG can really use this Baron to their advantage, but at least it denies it away from BLG, and now IG trying to play for the dragon. Knight is forced to use the Weaver's Wall just cause the engage was being threatened by members of IG.
He doesn't have flash right now, so any engagement from Meiko or from Rookie is a death sentence. BLG will be first into the river, first into the pit. Let's track where Wei is. He's going to get spotted going into the top side here. Knight's going to try and track him. Again, no flash. It is so dangerous. That Featherstorm Objective goes over to BLG.
Trying to get the knock him in the shadow, but Wei is nowhere near. He's trying to play for the flank rather than play for the objective, trying to see if they can cut off the entrance point or the retreat point of BLG. Public execution was sidestepped, and Grand Starfall from Shadow gets him out barely. IG still have the Baron buff on Rookie's side for at least another minute. Can they find this tier 2 turret?
I think that was really well played, though, from BLG. They got the dragon, escaped, no one ends up dying, and they don't lose any meaningful summoner spells. There were some ultimates that were missed and used to get out of that situation. No Weaver's Wall, with no public execution.
On, gets knocked up. Oh,
Jesus.
Gala deletes him. Rookie sets up the Cyclone for Wei, and Gala and Wei find Elk into the back line. Meiko tries to punt Knight away, gets knocked in by the seismic shove. Bin goes crazy, slices him down where he stands, and Shadow executes him with the power of the Comet Spear. But IG still pushing with 4-man strong. They get the tier 2 turret, but they're running out of Baron buff. In the next 20 seconds, they're still trying to make the push with the numbers advantage on their side.
How much more can they grab? Baron wave, it's 10 seconds left. It'll be inhibitor for IG. How back and forth has this game been, man? Look at the gold lead now. It was only 2,000, but even as we started that dragon, it was barely even between the two. 3 items now coming on through for multiple members on both teams. And while BLG have been grabbing dragons, IG are... I don't want to say that they've been wrestling control back in this game, but it feels like after the play is done, IG have been a little bit smarter about where and how they can get gold on the map as we go right into this replay. I like the explosivity that we're getting from them, immediately engaging as soon as Rakan is out of a battle dance. That's our time to go. And remember, we talked about it when we were looking at this fight. Look at the bottom of your screen here. No ultimates, no flashes from these members of BLG. Little too far from Meiko, but the turret was what they were looking for and trying to get whatever last scraps with this Baron.
And once again, for IG, it isn't always necessarily the execution that gets them through the finish line, but the concept and the just idea of what to play for at the end of the day. And these guys are so experienced. They're so smart. They've been on the biggest stages. They have won international championship in years past. They know how to navigate these scenarios. And for BLG, many of these guys are yet to be proven. They have made it to at least world finals for a majority of them, but yet to lift an international trophy for themselves. And that is getting tested here on this Rift.
Ooh, Equalizer splits the fight. Seems like we're just gonna get some sparring. Light jabs. Equalizer no longer available, and Rookie hits level 16 here. There's not an objective for us to play for, so in the time being, Raafaa, we need to see what summoner spells and what spells in general from ultimates are no longer going to be touchable for either of these teams. It'll be a missing ult from some of these members, but I think you're fine with that trade because of the Baron spawning in a minute.
Woo! Quick hands by Wei to be able to dodge the seismic
Oh!
shot. He's going for the flash on the Knight. He knows that he doesn't have a summoner spell. Wei just unleashes the Cyclone, and the shot will incinerate the golden left hand where he stands. IG able to pick off 2 in an instant. There's no objective to play for in an immediate instant, but 50 seconds on Baron, a minute and a half on Cloud Soul for IG. They're going to take this time to push and break open the base further into BLG's hands.
They've got a wave on bottom lane that's going to push. They're going to grab themselves the inhibitor. BLG are getting their base cracked multiple angles here for IG. And what I would like to see for them is squeeze as much as possible with these objectives spawning in such a short time.
They're trying to test BLG's metal here. The flash forces Elk to go in the air with the Feather Stormer early. One Nexus turret goes down. Rookie gets deleted, but his sacrifice is for the greater good. The Equalizer forces Shadow and Elk back, but On comes back for the grave. Finds a grand entrance, stalls the fight, but Wei is still alive and he's hitting on to the Nexus turret. The Nexus is open. IG will lead the series 1-0.
Most entertaining team, man. You can never, ever count IG out. Game was back and forth, but they were just nickel and diming BLG. It felt like a death of 1,000 cuts there. Small objective lead here. Hey, we can't play for these last 2 dragons. Let's make a move on the top side. Let's get ourselves these turrets. Let's use this Baron to open up an inhibitor on the bottom side. And BLG just could not survive being bled out on the map.
That mid game gave me so much concern for IG because they were playing right into BLG's hands, and BLG seemed to be able to show a lot of really cool nerves and composure just taking the hands check against IG and punishing them for it. But then IG took a step back, started playing the map, took advantage of the fact that they had the first 3 dragons pretty easily for themselves and were able to put themselves in a better state to then slowly strangle BLG out of the game. And it's where they were able to shine out that late game macro decision making that we were talking about in the pre-show for the series.
And while we didn't get to see, I think, the exact sort of matchup we wanted from our 2 supports, Meiko leading from the front, really important for this squad. The difference, I think, in the Alistar and the Rakan, Alistar has so much HP that he's allowed to play with because of the Unbreakable Will, and obviously just what this champion represents in a lot of the games. So a really clutch game there from Meiko, but I think most of that game is not possible without the angles that we saw from Wei, a player that has been so maligned for not only his performance on BLG at the very beginning of the year, but even taking over the spot from Jeje, who has been, I think, a fan favorite for a lot of players. And while mechanically Jeje has shown that he deserves to be in the LPL, Wei, for what it's worth, has led this IG team to higher highs that we've seen in the regular season, and now is potentially in the best form going into playoffs.
It has been awesome to see Wei's comeback since getting dropped by BLG, because the glow up since then, whether it's something to prove from him or just a better team environment in IG in general that fits for his play style, I'm not gonna lie, Alk, he looks like a completely different player than when we saw him earlier on BLG this year.
Really exciting, and I'm glad that we get that reinvention of players, because very often your last game is your last game, right? Like, that is what people are going to remember for you by, them in the big moments for you, highs and lows. Very, very key for Wei, and for this IG roster, who I think we got to see it in this game as like a poster child for sometimes the fights, the calibrations, not as tight as maybe we would want or expect from a top level team, but some of the calls in this game, so good. The rotations that we saw from them, playing the map a bit better than their opponents, and BLG, for all that it's worth, for all of the credit that we give them, getting later into a game and especially playing the map and kind of the cerebral stuff about League is something that they have struggled with, not just this year, but across the iterations in the last 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of LPL gold graphs, Dimitri, that's a hell of an LPL gold graph right there,
that's
baby.
That's a gold graph.
Oh, man. I thought there was going to be a moment where BLG had been able to kind of learn from the lessons of their previous bouts against IG earlier in this split. But BLG are going to have to go back to the drawing board. I don't want to say it really was a draft diff. We talked about both the advantages and disadvantages that this composition brought. And to be fair, there was some decent proactivity from Shadow and Knight trying to capitalize on some overextended stragglers on the side of IG. Unfortunately, in the end, it just wasn't enough.
Just this fight, man. Like, no vision, an equalizer, like, incredible stuff. This was the int play that we kind of saw, like, this is where the BLG advantage started to grow for them, and multiple pickouts. But Gala on this Yunara, and Gala in particular, I really want to, and we're kind of spotlighting a lot. This draft feels a lot of, like, how do I want to phrase this? Just iconic for the matchup. Like, we have TheShy versus Bin, some of our best top laners that we have seen in the LPL generationally, and TheShy being able to do it on Rumble of all champions versus Bin, I think really important. Gala, after the year he's had, versus Elk, who has been Mr. Consistent, and being able to find it on Yunara, a champion that BLG and Elk have not really found too much success on throughout this split. It's just so many amazing parallels, and that is only possible when we get such high-level teams playing in such an important series at the end of the season.
This fight was just so freaking crazy, man. Like, the line that IG were towing between completely getting wiped and somehow surviving to the very brink, playing off of cooldowns as much as possible. There's just so many small timing windows where each of these IG individual members understand a very, very finite window to punish, and just, I like the word you use, they're squeezing advantages wherever they can, and they seem to do it better than any other team here in the LPL.
It's just like they consistently do it. It's not like we're getting like here and there. I feel like that's a trait that we usually attribute to top esports, where they're a very aggressive team, but they will find windows to really punish opponents. IG do this like every single series, and the more impressive manner for me is that very often IG will do this from a deficit. They will give up some parts of the map. They will say, okay, you are allowed to take these objectives because we know we're going to be stronger on this spike. We know we're going to be stronger in this portion of the game, and they execute. And that is, I think, the most important part of their game plan, is their ability to execute on strategies that don't necessarily give them a lot of room for error.
Yeah. That play from Wei still just amazes me, because it's the confidence and the foresight that they just used any of their CC spells that could stop me from punishing Knight. Now's the time to just full send it. And Wei, deservedly
Perfect.
so, against the organization that dropped him for Beichuan, picks up the first MVP for the series.
Amazing stuff, and really well played coming in from Wei. Want to see more of this. I want to see more pushback, because I don't want this to be a 2-0 series. As awesome as it would be for IG to snap up that second place spot going into playoffs, I think a competitive series between these two teams is what all of the fans are expecting.
It would definitely set up both teams for the strongest possible chances of having a great showing at the World Championship later in China this year. That is going to complete our first match of our final series. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, it's the second game and potentially the very last one of the Rumble stage.